Everyone was celebrating until a sea monster appeared. Kana could only watch as her family and friends fought against the monster. Her mother, caught by the creature, shouted for Kana to hide. Frozen in place, could only call for her mother. The men tried to fight the creature using axes, but the monster's shell was too hard, and they ended up being crushed. A smaller boat began to approach, and the men inside debated whether they should get closer, but they were noticed by the monster, which advanced with its claw. It stopped, and the men were confused. Then several spikes began to come out of the claw towards the boat, which was destroyed. No one appeared to save the girl, and they went to a control room. The father began to ask for help over the radio to Union Busan, while the monster was almost destroying the boat. In the distance, on a small island, someone seems to be fishing. The boy looks in the direction of the boat. Kana's father finally got a response from Union Busan on the radio. Another crew member panicked and began to scream for help. Union Busan said they had no obligation to protect refugees. Kana's father, desperate, said there was a child on the boat and they needed help, but Union Busan refused help and wished them luck. The father of Kana, desperate, said they found the relics, but the monster's paw went through the room and he grabbed Kana's father, who was screaming for him. Her father asked her to try to escape, and she looked desperate as her father was killed by the monster. She thought that a moment ago she was hugging her parents, and now she no longer has them. She stands right in front of the monster, hopeless after everything that happened. The monster attacks, and before she realizes it, she is in the arms of a young man who tells her not to give up on living. The young man who saved Kana tells her that he will leave her in the care of another survivor, who asks who he is. He introduces himself as Union Busan harpooner Tian Ma. Kana is impressed with the young man who saved her, and the other survivor gets excited and starts asking about the other harpooners. Tian just says that the boat is going to sink and they must escape while he distracts the monster. The other survivor is shocked to find out that there's only one harpooner, and Tian faces the monster, staring at the creature, wondering if he will be able to pierce the shell. The monster attacks, but he dodges the crab and manages to release the lifeboat, which falls into the sea. Now he prepares for the fight, spinning as he cuts the creature's shell, which begins to crack. The shell is thicker than he thought. He adjusts the sword to increase its power, and smoke starts to come out of it. He prepares for the monster's next attack and defends himself with the sword, which finally cracks the monster's shell. The creature, not being foolish, backs away. Even Kana notices the retreat. Tian says the monster has never seen anyone like him, and he gets mad with rage. He runs to attack the monster and manages to hit the creature without it retaliating. Kana and the other survivor watched in amazement as he was impressed, and someone managed to fight on equal terms with the monster. The monster's shell begins to crack even more. This time Tian attacks to cut the monster. He gives several blows while being watched by Kana. Tian continued to tear apart the monster's shell, causing it to froth at the mouth as it was sliced. This gave hope to Kana and the other survivors. The harpooner changed the gas in his sword, realizing he needed to end the fight soon, as this was his last canister. The crab monster attacked again, and the warrior became apprehensive. The creature ripped off a huge piece of the boat. Tian thought the creature wanted to sink the boat, so the monster threw the piece towards Kana, leaving the harpooner even angrier. He launched into the attack. The guy who was with Kana got up, and she asked for help because she got stuck in the wreckage, but the guy just ran off screaming and left the girl, pleading for help. Tian continued to attack the monster, which stopped retaliating. At that moment, the survivor ran past Tian, who shouted for him to duck because the monster was preparing to attack. The crab monster launched several spikes at the warrior, who was hit and pinned against the wall. The survivor also couldn't escape and was hit by the spikes. Tian had a spike stuck in his arm and was also hit in the thigh. The spikes immobilized him against the wall. The harpooner looked worriedly at the monster, which advanced towards him, aiming for his neck. He managed to rise and dodge the attack while plunging one of the spikes into the monster and pulling his arm from the wall, creating a hole. Tian spun above the monster and managed to attack its back, continuing to strike with his sword, but the monster fought back and hit the warrior, who was thrown away. He got up with the help of the sword, but was already weak and badly injured. He faced the monster, which was weakened and frothing at the mouth. Tian looked at the horizon. The sun was already rising. The crab began to burn in the light and quickly ran, throwing itself into the sea. Tian was surprised by the monster's escape, which disappeared into the sea. He fell to his knees in gratitude, as he had no more strength left. He remembered Kana and found the girl trapped in a corner of the boat, helping her to get free. She asked if he had managed to kill kill the monster, but according to him, the monster was full and left because of the sun, and she wondered if the monster would come back. Tian didn't know but said she should be happy to see a new day. Kana revealed that she couldn't be happy because she had just lost her parents to that creature, and he tried to comfort the girl. With the sunrise, the harpooners of Union Busan appeared, but they didn't come to save the refugees. They came to take the relics. A guy from the ship offered to treat the girl in exchange for the relic and gave her the right to be a citizen of the ship. Kana was still in shock from her loss, while one of the Union Busan employees congratulated her on becoming a citizen. According to her, the harpooners were heroes to the residents of Union Busan. They were impressed by a harpooner defeating a giant monster, regardless of all who died in the battle. Kana overheard the ship's employees talking about how refugees worked for free just to gain citizenship. One of them commented that he received an SOS the previous night and pleased said he denied help. The girl was shocked to hear this, and they celebrated, saying they got a relic for free. Then they noticed her presence, standing before them holding a broken bottle. She asked if they were waiting for the refugees to die, and one of the guys asked how she felt after trading her parents' lives for citizenship. She became furious and tried to attack him with the bottle, but he attacked her first and grabbed her by the neck. The guy had the audacity to call her a savage. He said what she did was a crime, and he put handcuffs on Kana, continuing to say they could have killed her. According to him, the harpooners were justice. But the girl called them cowards because when they needed the harpooners, they didn't come. The guy looked at her and kicked her in the stomach, and the three of them joined forces to beat her. One of them said it was for her to learn manners and tried to punch her, but he was stopped by someone, none other than Tian. Tian attacks the guys by spinning, and they fly. Even Kana is surprised by the attack. Tian asks what they think they were doing, hurting a girl. One of the guys shouts that Tian shouldn't interfere with his comrade's work. Harpooner becomes indignant with their behavior, and they decide to retaliate. So, Tian breaks his crutch in anger and threatens the guys. They realize that Tian is serious and retreat before one of them calls Tian a plebeian, warning that if he continues acting like that, he'll be thrown into the sea. He begins to explain to Kana that this ship is not so different from the refugees. The difference is that you fight against people. If she wants to survive, she'll have to get stronger, and Kana wants to know how to become a harpooner, which surprises the warrior. He says it's very difficult, but Kana affirms that she'll do everything to become one. With hatred, she says she'll kill every last sea monster. The girl recounts that she joined the harpooners, where there was no difference between plebeians and elites, and she saw Tian as her ideal harpooner. Kana makes a promise to Tian, and feels indebted to him. She wonders if the harpooner sent his children to the ship without knowing that, in fact, he's dead. Kana wonders if Tian could have sent the children to protect her. The sun rises, and at Union Busan and from a message tower, a voice says that its crew are chosen and must contribute to the resurrection of the great Union Busan, and that everyone must work together for this future, like in communist propaganda. Guards stand watch over the crew at higher points. In the scrapyard courtyard, Bota is seen talking to the worker. The boy says he's there to work. The guy looks suspiciously at Bota and says it's better not to because the work is too hard. Bota crosses off another place that asked for work from his list. Elsewhere, the crew member says they don't employ refugees, and the boy starts to feel discouraged after several rejections. Then he sees someone begging for alms, saying they're hungry. Bota gives some coins to the lady, telling her that when he gets a job, he'll give her some more, and she thanks the boy. The old lady reciprocates by giving Bota some seeds, which she says represent hope, and the boy feels better upon receiving them. In the brothers' room, they calculate how much money they still have, and Bota says he needs to get a job soon. According to Lee, they need to work and pay taxes, or they'll be expelled, but even trying, Bota can't get a job. The boy decides it's better for them to cut expenses, and Lita says he must have spent money on strange seeds. Lee appears, asking if Bota got a job. Upon learning that he didn't, he says he'll try to help, but warns the boy that it's dangerous work. They go to the lowest part of the ship, and their Lee presents Bota as a strong and healthy young man, which doesn't convince the guy who realizes Bota is just a child. Bota still tries to appear more muscular, and Lee says he'd make a great plumber. The guy thinks for a moment and ends up giving the boy a chance. Lee reminds Bota that he needs to work hard. On this ship, the worst thing is poverty. Even though they're protected from monsters and typhoons, they're not protected from poverty and diseases. The boy agrees without knowing exactly what he meant. The guy calls Bota to work. Another worker explains that they're going to replace the old pipes, and black water splashes on Bota's face while he hammers the pipes. The water stinks of sewage. One of the workers shouts to the boss that the pipes are messed up and don't match the blueprints, and the boss responds that they need to make them match. While Bota takes a shower to get rid of the smell, the boss says he can't find parts for the ship that's already 100 years old, which surprises the boy. Their boss has been a plumber for over 40 years, and Bota asks him when the ship was built. According to the boss, the ship was built when there was still land on the planet, and there were even bigger ships. He recounts that comets collided with the moon and ice fragments fell on Earth.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. Leave a like if you enjoyed it and share with your friends. See you in the next video. Bye for now.